Namo tasso bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tasso bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tasso bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour together, hour and a half together in what I call the boot camp, and often referred to also as sanctuary for those who are seeking for inner peace. Now, as I said before, today will be the last class before I take 2 weeks off, and then we'll return on the 21st of March. And then on the 22nd of March, the first, this is a Sunday, 22nd is a Sunday, and would be our first Sunday in-person retreat. It will also be about hour and a half. It will alternate between myself and Mr. Tian Yun, and who's a formerly incarcerated individual, what we call a returned citizen. So he will be, when it's his turn to practice, it would be yoga and meditation. And then in my case, it would be the same. And so we're grouping all that under the umbrella of the 8 limbs of yoga, which is in fact the training of Buddha himself before he became enlightened. And so today, in my case, I alternate from week to week. And last week, it was specifically about Pranayama, which is one of the limbs, one of the branches of the 8 limbs of yoga. And today we're coming back to what would most likely be referred to as Qigong, which again is a combination of Asana, the practice of the body, and then also the practice of the Qi, the energy. All right. Okay. So we're going to start now by preparing our body, preparing our energy system for the Qigong exercise, what we call the Yijing, YJJ. And so more and more people, more and more are now being studied, being understood about this so-called energy system. It's basically a very complicated network of energy channel, or more likely communication channel. And probably the original form of that is the North Indians or yogis, what they call nadis, and it's very complicated. They believe that there's certainly 2,000 channels in the body. When it comes to the Chinese, they're simplifying it according to their own understanding of the universe, the solar system, and so it simplifies into 12 channels according to the sun. And we have yin channel, which is away from the sun. We have yang channel, which is facing the sun. We have those originated from the fingertips, and we have those originated from the toes. So we're going to start with the fingertips, and the fingertips is in fact where the energy interchange. When it goes out, and it's yang. When it comes back, it's yin. So this is in fact the extremities that where the energy exchange. So what I want you to do is take out your left hand, take out your right thumb, and very gently massage the tips of your fingers. Now, keep in mind that what we practice here is the body, the mind, and then the bridge between them, which is qi, And Qi can be interpreted as breath, and it can be interpreted as life energy. Okay, now after we massage the fingertips, we're going to go down and start massaging the joints. And as you massage, I want you to anchor your mind on your body. Anchor your mind on the body. That's how I interpret mindfulness. Mindfulness, the word itself has been interpreted in many ways, but the original meaning of the word mindfulness is sati, which is basically remember. It's just remember, okay? And just remember your anchor your mind. Try to remember to anchor your mind. And when we move, we anchor on our joints or any part of our body. When we're stationary, now we go from the left hand to the right hand. Okay. Sorry about my sinus. And again, I want you to focus on your body as you massage and focus on the observation of the change of your body. Now we're done with the inside of a palm. We're going to rotate around and work on the outside of the palm. And again, we start with the fingertip, but this time we're going to start on the corners of your fingernails. Okay, a little bit here, one at a time. And you will find if you study meridians, the yang meridian, the yang meridian, um, it most like very often are started at the corners of the fingernails. Now, once we're done with the tips, we come back to the joints. So we have today we have a new student, Shupa, from India. She said he or she said I'm new from India. Welcome. And our practice here is much of it is traced back to Bodhiyama. No, not Bodhiyama. Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma was a Indian yogi who traveled to China in about 1600 years ago. And he was the one that brought not only the Zen meditation, but what I would call mindfulness in motion, right? Mindfulness meaning that you're not just sitting, but you can also do it while you're walking, while you're moving. And he became basically the founder of the Shaolin martial art. It's how do you practice mindfulness when you move. Okay, now we're done with the tips, the joints. We're not done with the fingers yet. So I want you to massage the length of the fingers from the base to the tip. If it's particularly in between the joints, give it a massage. Now, massaging the hands are very, very important because first of all, the Chinese believe that the hands are tied to your neurological health, right? So, and the Western scientists discovered that those who do needlework, those who paint, or those who would farm or raise flowers or whatever, they constantly use their fingers as they age. They tend not to have dementia. Okay. Now we're done with the inside. Now we're working outside. So use fingers are very important. In fact, fingers is what distinguishes us from the other mammals, right? We were the first to actually know how to use the thumb and the digits, so we can grab a tree branch off a branch off the tree, use it as a defensive weapon, and then allow us to walk down from the trees and start to live in caves and so forth. All right, now we're moving away from the fingertips, and there are places that actually are very important. So you will find that when you study meridians, when you study energy points, they're always in between something, hiding away from you. So it turns out that these places where the fingers, the bottom of the fingers is very important. So I want you to take the right thumb, use the edge of the thumb, and just kind of massage in between the fingers. Okay, and then now same thing on the side. We'll come back to the thumb in a minute. All right, the thumb is actually deserve its own treatment. All right, so now we're going to work on the knuckles. So I want you to hold on to the fist. Again, take the right thumb and fit between the knuckles, and then just kind of massage. So fingers is very important because first of all, it's tied to the neurological health, but it's also important in the sense that it allows the energy to flow to the rest of your body. So as you finish massaging the fingers, you actually feel warm in your body because the chi is actually running through. Now, the back of the hands, you can actually feel the individual fingers, right? So again, I want you to use the edge of the thumb and just kind of in between the fingers. And then over here, same thing. All right, so now we're working away from the fingertips all the way to the shoulders. And one of the places that we focus on is actually at the wrist. There are a lot of energy points at the wrist, particularly at the back of the wrist, so that is facing the sun, and that's the yang energy. And so as we age, one of the things that happens is not only are we losing yang energy, but we also lose it according to the sun. So we tend to be more energetic during the day, and then as the sun comes down, there's something called the sundowning effect, right? We all know that. We're just not as energetic as in the morning. So you need to kind of get into this habit. I apologize for my sinus. It's much worse today than it's normally. So you need to kind of um, develop this habit of massaging your hand, the back of the hand, towards the evening. Also, a lot of us have pain on the wrist, on the elbow, on the shoulder, sometimes called tennis elbow, sometimes just called mama's hand, because the mother used the hand a lot in the kitchen back in those days. So these places actually help you relieve the pain. So the Chinese actually believe something very simple. It says, well, if you have pain, in between basically says if you have pain, it's because you have inflammation. You have inflammation is because your energy channels are blocked. So basically it's very simple. It says pain means energy and channel blocked. The reverse is the same, is the energy channel is clear, that there's no pain. There's no inflammation. So these points actually clears the energy channel and reduce the inflammation in the body, not just in the hand. So where are these points? There's three very important points. So if you take your wrist and you bend back, you follow the thumb, and right there, there's a cavity right here. So you learn to do some acupressure by taking the thumb and just kind of squeeze to that, right? Feel kind of numbness, and it's kind of painful a little bit. All right. So the other one is that it's the opposite of that, which is at the small fingers. As you bend your wrist back, you come down, and it's on the outside. Okay. Now, then the last one is you bend your wrist like this. You follow your ring fingers until you get to the top of the wrist, and you press, and there's a cavity. Now, these three cavities actually are referred to as the longevity cavities. Okay. All right. Now, so there's a great deal to talk about health span. I know that these days, if you're 80, that's kind of young. If somebody says, "Oh, he just died. He's only 80. He's 80 years old." Oh, 80s these days are kind of young. 90s, yeah, you're getting. We're always living a lot longer, right? Back in the days when I was a child, I'm 70. I would be 70 this year. Back in the days when I was a child, 60 was a big deal, right? And average age of Chinese youth before I was born was 35, right? So obviously, modern science had greatly reduced the lifespan. But when you think about it, the health span is actually quite short, right? Health span is actually quite short. Think about, you're getting close to retirement. You say, "Oh, I'm going to do some traveling." Oh man, I do all this planning, and you put aside all the things that you got to take with you, the money, the passport, all that. But there's one thing that you must take with you. If you don't take with you, you might die. That's your medicine, right? Everybody has that. Oh, I got medicine for my high blood pressure. I got it for my high cholesterol. I got it for my diabetes. I got it for my thyroid. I got it. Whoa, that's the end of your health span, right? Western medicines allow you to extend your lifespan, but by jeopardizing your health span, right? So that's a thought. All right. So now the other side. All right. So these energy points fundamentally is to improve your health span. All right. Now there's just one on the thumb. There's another one on the little fingers, and then there's one on the top of the. So these three energy points have very common name. They're called all yang, but then one is um, the valley of yang, the stream of yang, the pond of yang, like that, right? It's three energy points, very common. All right. So now we're gonna continue later, but like we're not done yet, right? So we come back now. We promise to work on the thumb, right? It's actually the thumb that really allows us to use the rest of the fingers. I try holding anything without the thumb. It's impossible. All right. Now there's a part of the thumb which is right here. Okay. That is actually a very important energy point. This whole areas are also very important, and it ties to the strength of your cardio. And so I want you to use your thumb and your index finger and just kind of pinch it, right? And then same thing on the side, massage your thumb, and then use the pincher and just kind of pinch it, and you feel some soreness on this part of the thumb. Okay. Now, one more thing. I want you to use your knuckle and just kind of drill into that. All right. Drill into that. And then do that on the other side. And I want you to set now. We're actually working on all three energy lines that are inside your palm, which are the yin. This one is named after the heart, or actually more like the mind. And this one is named after the lung. And then this one is named after the pericardium. So right in the middle is the energy point that I call the chamber of labor. It's the only one that allows you to put out positive energies. Therefore, the healing hand. So healing hand can heal yourself, not just others. So I want you to take that and just kind of drill into the center of the palm, and then drill into the center of the palm. And now take the two, put it together, and just kind of rub it together. And then I want you to use the right hand, put that on top of the left hand, massage both the inside the palm and the back of the hand, and also squeeze the fingers together and just kind of do that. Okay, now the other side. Okay, we're going to continue. So some a student who's new from India probably can relate to this much more than the Westerners. In the West, we think of meditation as someone who just sits and do nothing, which is really, really not true. When you sit, it's actually when you do observation. The observation of your body and your breath is the beginning of what we call Vipassana. Vipassana is to observe your inner state and sometimes translate into insight. It's like trying to find the inner child in you, trying to look inside of you, see the sun in you by pushing away all the clouds. Right? It's a very, very different, very, very deep practice. So when people sit, they don't just sit and do nothing, because if they sit and do nothing, we call that lazy Zen. They're just taking a nap. Or the other thing you don't do is that you don't shut down your senses and allow your thinking mind to go wild. We call that monkey Zen, right? So in fact, it takes a lot to actually just sit and meditate. Now the yogis, the Indians, they don't just sit; they actually do a lot of preparation. They do a lot of preparation. They do a lot of exercise. They do a lot of breathing exercise, the breathing exercise, because they want to prepare themselves for that sit. And when they sit, they don't want to fall asleep, and they don't want to have the mind wander around. So it requires a lot of focus, mental power. Okay, and a lot of that is lost. A lot of that is lost. People just saying, "Oh, we just sit. This is how we meditate." Right? But the problem is that when you just meditate, you do get a lot of health benefit, but it doesn't take you to the true purpose of meditation, which is to look inside of you, right? Because if you fall asleep, you're not going to look inside, and if you let your mind wander around, you're not going to look inside. So the North Indians, the yogis, actually understands how to meditate by preparing the body. And that's what we're doing here, is to prepare our body. So even though we might only sit 5 or 10 minutes, right? But when we sit 5 or 10 minutes, it's the quality that matters, not the quantity. Okay. All right. So now we're going to continue the practice, continue to work on the body and strengthen not just our physical existence, our physical health, but also our neurological health and our mental health. The next set of exercise is the exercise that allows us to reduce inflammation in the body, particularly preventing stroke. Now, stroke, everybody blames stroke on cholesterol. I was just reading an article yesterday. You know where that came from? This whole idea that stroke came from cholesterol. It was funny. It was a study that was done like in the 50s where they take a bunch of rabbits, rabbits that normally feeds on carrots and vegetables, and feed them a lot of saturated fat. And then, of course, they all die from heart attack. And then when they dissect them, they say, see, there's cholesterol in the blood. Well, first of all, they're not used to eating so much fat. Well, but that's another story. But the point is, when you eat so much fat and your body inflamed, the body is trying to heal itself by using cholesterol, right? So cholesterol is not the problem. Cholesterol doesn't cause stroke. It's the fact that your body is inflamed that causes stroke. So this next exercise looks very simple, looks very mysterious, but it's been known to reduce inflammation. And the reason for that is that the Chinese believe that our health depends on the harmony between five different elements: the water, the vegetation, the sun, the soil, and then the mineral. Everything is in five. Even music is in five. Okay, that's why when you listen to the Indian music or listen to traditional Chinese music, or they're very soothing because they're focused on those five elements. Now, the fingers are the five elements. The internal organs are the five elements. So the Chinese believe that this set of exercise introduce the harmony inside of you, reduce inflammation, and then reduce your chance of having a stroke. It's a very simple exercise. First, you take your thumb and you touch your index finger and you squeeze as hard as you can. Then you take your thumb and you touch your middle fingers and you squeeze as hard as you can. Then you take your thumb and you touch your ring fingers and you squeeze as hard as you can. Finally, you touch your middle fingers and you squeeze as hard as you can. Now you take your thumb, you put that in the middle of the index finger, and you just squeeze. Then the middle of the middle finger, and you squeeze. The middle of the ring finger, and you squeeze. And the middle of the small finger, and you squeeze. And that's it. All right. So now the next exercise again has to do with the finger, but this time is your neurological health. Right now, your neurological health, and there are more and more study now to show us that dementia is actually not the degradation of the brain. It's just that the brain is inflamed. It's now called the type 3 diabetes. Diabetes is inflammation. And so, how do you reduce the chance of having inflammation? You maintain the separation of your left brain from the right brain. Right? My father died from dementia. I said that many times. As I look back, I shouldn't know, but as I look back, it wasn't that he was confused. It wasn't that he lost. He forgot who I was. It started way back when he lost balance. Right? I shouldn't know, right? But now the science are catching up to that. So this exercise maintain that left brain, right brain separation, and also working on the fingers individually. So again, I want you to come back and I want you to sit properly for this because it's a qigong exercise. Qigong exercise means that energy actually flow ultimately in your spine, and this is actually what we call the guardian vessel. All right, so I want you to locate the bottom of your spine, and then I want you to go from the bottom of your spine towards the top of the head, moving along your spine. As you move along your spine, I want you to stretch the spine. And you stretch by is thinking that there are 23 joints, if I remember correctly. So you start at, you do one joint at a time, stretch as hard as you can, and then you lean back and then relax. Now you take your shoulder and you lift up your shoulder. You lift up as hard as you can. Then you open your shoulder and then relax. Okay? Now that's how you sit properly. Now, the Chinese back in the warring state, which was like um, about 2,300 years ago, right? Back in before the Qin Emperor. And there was a famous scholar, and he wrote down the practice for longevity, and he wrote it down in terms of five animals. The five animals are the bear, the tiger, the monkey, the deer, and then also finally the bird. And each one symbolizes something. And so the back is the tiger's back. And so when you stretch your spine, lift up your shoulder, and then you open your shoulder, you lean back, that's called a tiger's back. Now, there's one more thing that we do occasionally, but it's actually quite important if you really want to study longevity. The Chinese idea of longevity is your lower back. So you take your hand, you put it on your waist, where the finger touches, right in the back, where the kidneys are. That's a very important energy point. And so we will sit by putting some pressure on that. And how do you do that? Well, when you stretch, you don't lean back first, right? You stretch as hard as you can, but you don't lean back first. You lean forward. Okay. Now you hold your hip in place as you lean back, and you feel the pressure in your lower back on both sides, and then you relax. So that combination is called the tiger's back, the upper part of the back, and the bear's back on the lower back, right? Okay. So just in passing. But in any case, stretching your spine is a very good longevity exercise, right? I was telling my students, back in the days when my kids were young, and every month I would measure how high it is. He grows, and the marking is still on the wall. I said, well, actually, we should start doing that for ourselves. As we age, every month we should mark ourselves and see if we shrink. We actually shrink, right? My son is taller than me now, because not because he hasn't grown since he was 20, but because I shrink. And because you shrink because your spinal cord collapses, right? Your spinal cord collapses because it oxidized. And so how do you reverse the oxidation? You stretch it. When you stretch it, they're piezoelectric, so it generates electricity. And it's very important that you don't let your spiral cord collapse, because when your spiral cord collapse, it's a factory for your marrow, your bone marrow, right? So you're actually generating much less bone marrow than you used to, which means that you don't have as much energy, which means that your immunity is impacted, right? So stretching the spine is really, really important as we age. And then opening the shoulder is also very important. And relax. Okay, now we're going to do the next set of finger exercise, which requires that we activate one hand at a time and one finger at a time. So I want you to close your eye. Imagine your fingers and your hand. Now I want you to raise up your right hand, and I want you to focus on the thumb. I want you to bring in your thumb. Then I want you to focus on two fingers in the middle and bring that down. And then finally come back to the index fingers, and then to the little fingers. Now, all this you do by closing your eyes, but you're actually seeing it, right? Even after you close your eye. Now, I want you to bring down your right hand, bring up your left hand. Again, I'm seeing it, even though I close my eye. I bring in my thumb, two fingers, index fingers, and little fingers. Then I bring both of them up and I squeeze as hard as you can. And then I leave the right hand, open the fingers in reverse order. Again, focus on the little fingers, the index, two fingers, and the thumb. Bring that down, bring up the left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Bring it back up, stretch as hard as we can, and then said to myself, I finished the first, now I'm ready for the second. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as we can. Right hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then stretch as hard as we can. Now back to the right. Then say to yourself, well, this is the last time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then stretch as hard as you can. Now sit up straight. Put your palms together. The center of the palm touching, the fingers touching. Push as hard as you can. Lift up your elbow. And then bring down your hands without losing contact of the center of your palm. Now we're ready for some tapping, right? So all these modalities, whether you go to acupuncturist, you go to someone who does the suction cup things, or they do later on when we do guasa, and then now we do tapping, massage, and then acupressure. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's all about clearing the blockage of the chi channel. So the next one is about tapping the fingertips again. And so I want you to put the fingertips together, sit up straight, and then I want you to tap while you're counting. Okay, so your mind is not somewhere else. You ready? 30 times? Go. Okay, now it's very important that when you tap, your mind stays focused on the fingertips, feel the vibration in your fingers, and 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 that way you will notice even here now we're now half an hour into our hour and a half session, and you notice that I keep swallowing saliva, right? Saliva is a very important indicator that you are in fact in parasympathetic mode, that you are in rest and digest, right? If you want to heal yourself, you have to learn how to activate the rest and digest. That's the problem we have, right? In the modern day, we're so excited, right? 24/7, we're excited. We go to vacation, we're excited. And so the body keeps generating steroid, what we call cortisol, to a point where you lose sensitivity, you lose the healing aid, the power of the healing agent, and then you develop your carpal tunnel or whatnot. You go to the doctor, he gives you even more steroid. Ironic, right? All right, so that's very important that you all through this exercise, you learn to anchor your mind. Very simple. You anchor your mind on your body when you move, you anchor your mind on your breath when you're stationary. That was taught by Bodhidharma, okay? Indian yogi. All right, so now we continue. Now we're going to cross the hand this time. Again, we tap 30 times. Keep counting as you tap. Get ready, go. Okay, now we're going to tap the inside and then we're going to tap the outside. The inside, these two meridians, one on the small fingers, one on the thumb. This one, we're just going to put your hands together and you can just like just the meaty part, right? Get ready and sit up straight, tap 30 times. Okay, now we turn around and we're going to come back to this part, right? Tap that 30 times. Get ready, go. Okay, now we go to the outside. This is yin, this is yang, right? So on the outside, the the energy line that we name after the mind or the heart becomes the small intestine. The small intestine is your second brain, right? So they're related. And so this energy point is right on the edge of the palm. So you fold your hand, you see the line? It's just right there. So this time I want you to hold it flat. Now this energy point is a magical energy point. It's actually ties to the back. All these energies are very common. Remember back in the days, back in when I said that the Indians figured all this out, but it was such a complicated system. There's 72,000 nadis, right? That's a lot, right? So the Chinese said, that's too much. So they simplified. So they simplified to just say there are only 12, but in fact, there's a lot more. There's a lot of crossflow. So this one actually is very well known for longevity. It's tied to the back, okay? So how do we do that? So we flow hands flat, put it together, and tap that 30 times. Get ready? Go. Okay. Now the opposite of that is right here. So this is the lung, and its counterpart is the large intestine. So the Chinese believe that the lung is the organ that absorbs the mineral, absorbs the resource, the energy from the environment. And then the opposite of that is the large intestine, which is basically taking the toxins, right? The two are related. So it's just right here. It's just right here. So we take this, put it on top. Very simple. Tap that 30 times. Now the other side. Okay. Now we're going to learn to some acupressure. Remember I talked about the different modality? Acupressure is something we can do to ourselves. Acupuncture, which requires a needle, you need a little class for that. Although some people will do it anyway. Now, we come back to this energy point. This is called the merging valley. It's a very important one. And so how do you do acupressure properly? First of all, you open it up, you stretch it out, and you see this ridge right here. Then you take your thumb, you see the line, you put the line on top of the ridge, and then you go down. But then you need to take your right hand, you put that outside of the left hand because the energy point is actually an angle. And so when you press, you need to press towards the index finger. Now, when you do that, of course, you don't use your fingernail and you feel a little bit of soreness. Okay, so this is a very magical energy point. Um, First of all, it lowers your blood pressure, relieve your pain, right, in your body. And then the other one, continue to the elbow. So to do that, and then same thing on there. Put your left hand on the outside, press down, and then go here. Okay, now there's an energy point. If you go at the elbow, you measure 3 fingers, you locate the bone, you go on the outside of the bone, you press. And this one I liked because sometimes when I get up in the morning, my back is a little stiff, and when I press, it relieves the pain on my back. Right? Same thing on the other side. It's very nice. Okay. Oh, 2 more. There's one here. Now remember we have the outside one is yang, this one is yin. This one is very famous because people say that it helps you improve the quality of sleep. And then right here. And then the another one is 3 fingers down, put your thumb here. You can also put fingers on the outside over here. This one is the pericardium. Okay. All right. Now we come to my favorite part. Okay. Scraping. Scraping is very old. It's very old, right? And not too many people are doing it. But actually, the Western educated people, Westerners or even Western educated um, um, people, they like scraping. If you go to Amazon and you just type, I don't even know how to spell. Some students say, oh, it's in Guasa, Guasha. Whoa, you see all these tools that people have because people actually know about scraping. It relieves pain. Okay. And because it clears the channel, and once the channel flows, it reduces inflammation. Now we're going to do this very systematically. We're first going to do the inside, then we do the outside. There's 3 energy lines in the inside, there's 3 energy lines on the outside. First, we're going to do the one in the middle, which is the one that is named after pericardium. But it's important to understand that we do that from the elbow to the wrist. Now, of course, you could do that everywhere else. There's no shortage of place you can do it. I just choose to do it here because by the end of the day, my hand hurts a lot because I'm using it so much. Okay, and sometimes if I forget to do it before I go to sleep, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and then I still have to do it. Just relieving pain. Okay. All right. So we take something like this, and we just scrape. Excuse me. Ah, that's the inflammation of my sinus. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, now on the edge, there's the bone, is inside the bone. The inflammation of my sinus only happens during the morning after I wake up. And it's because the Chinese believe that when you're sleeping, the sun is down, it's actually time for you to restore the balance in the body and you tend to have more yin energy, and you're relying on the sun to come out to remove the yin energy, and the sinus is usually happens in the morning like that. Okay, all right. Now the bone, and then the outside the bone, and then the back of the hand, and then along the small fingers, and then come back, and then don't forget the back of the hand, right? You know, we all have arthritis. It's just a matter of the intensity, and so just relieve some of the pain. Back in along the small fingers, the back of the hand, outside of the bone, on top of the bone, inside of the bone, back in the center, and then finally along the small fingers. Okay, now do it on the right side. On the outside, on the back of the hand, along the small fingers. Okay, and then all the way around. Okay, all right, it relieves a lot of pain. Sorry about that. Okay, let me jump to the part where you work on the sinus. We're going to be doing this. So there's an energy point right here that's good for your sinus. So you take your index fingers, you go down on the two sides of the nose until you feel the bump, and just right below the bump, and you push up. Okay, all right. So we'll come back to that. I need an emergency. All right. Okay, so now we come to the part where we're sending energy in your arm. All right. So those of you who have problem with your elbow, your your wrist, your shoulder, right? This is a good energy. This is a good practice. So again, we sit up straight, open our shoulder, lean back, relax, and then pointing the fingers to the camera, locking our elbow, taking the four fingers, roll it up, then and then lock it with your thumb. Wind up the four fingers and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now we continue. We open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now, when you open your shoulder, these two energy points go gate to the clouds, part of the lung energy meridian. So make sure you open that. Then you take your 5 elements, your 5 fingers, you put your thumb and the middle fingers together, squeeze it slightly, and then you take the other 3, you stretch out. Now, this is called the lotus hand. You take your lotus hand, you put that in front of your shoulder. And once again, you open your shoulders, sit up straight, back of the head facing the camera. Get ready. 1, come back. 2, turn your hands so the back of the hand is facing the camera. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then finally 10. Okay, now it's 45 minutes. We finally get to the shoulder. All right, so now from the shoulder, we're going to walk towards the top of the head, and there's a bottleneck right here. I mean, literally a bottleneck. And so we're going to massage these 2 energy points. We take a thumb, find a cavity, and just kind of massage that. Okay, now we take a thumb, we press in, we lean back, hold it, and then relax. Now we take a right hand, put that on the left, push it down, and then grab the left side of the neck and pull it towards the right. Do the same thing on the other side. Sit up straight, push it down with your 4 fingers, grab the right side of the neck and pull it towards the left. Now we bring up our left ear. Review this cavity and we put our fingers in the massage. Now, this is actually the beginning of your vagus nerve. Okay, so you can actually go to Amazon and buy all kinds of tools to energize this part. But here you do it for free, which is simple massage. Now you kind of massage across, but you need to whisper to yourself, say, relax, relax. Now you lift up your right hand and you massage the bottom of your ear and you go across. And while you're whispering to yourself, relax, relax. Okay? Now you fold out your left ear, you massage the corner, and then you come down again, relax, relax. Now you fold down your right ear, you massage the corner, and you come down, and you come down. Now you take your thumb, you massage the corner, and then you move towards this cavity. This is called the palm of wind. And you go to around middle, you feel the top of the bone, and you just kind of massage that area. Okay, now this will relieve a lot of stress so you can get a better night of sleep. Now you come back to the cavity and you learn to massage your neck by squeezing these two energy points. There's two more in the middle, and then there's two right here. Now you take your right thumb, and then you massage your neck. You take your left thumb and you massage your neck. Okay, all right. You can do this more as you need it. Now we're going to learn to massage the neck. So first we sit up straight, we look straight ahead, we turn our head to the right and look down. And then there's the tendon. Now you take your right hand, the edge of your index finger, and you just kind of scrape. Okay, now you look straight ahead again, and this time you look towards the ceiling and you scrape from here. And then you massage this cavity here. This is the well on the shoulder. Then you massage here. There's another cavity. Massage here. And then finally there's one here. And then you just kind of massage forward. Right? Now you do the same thing on this side. Looking straight ahead. Turn your head to the left and then look down. Use your left hand. Use the index finger and just scrape. You can feel that. Now you look straight ahead. You look up and you go through. Okay, and then you massage the shoulder, one cavity, another cavity, one here, and then one here, and then massage all around. Okay, okay. We come to the face. We need to do facial massage. Back to the hand, the healing hand. First, we're gonna work on the eyes first, right? So, and then now form what's called an empty hand. Put that on the left eye. Take the right hand, form the empty hand, put that on the right eye. Sit up straight. Now open your eyes and you should see only darkness. If you don't, move your fingers around until you block all the light. Okay, get ready? First time. Put that on your eye. Second time. Now when we say that this is the healing hand and to say that this is the cavity that puts out energy, what we're talking about is that it's putting out infrared. Okay? So the first time your eye doesn't get used, it's not used to that. And then the second time you feel a lot of warmth, right? And then the third time. So you could do this a few times on your own. All right, so now we massage the forehead, massage outside the nose, and then massage the side of the face. Then we take the center of the palm, put that on our temple, and massage our temple. Now we take our fingers and we massage in between the eyebrow. And then move up and we massage this tip right here. We come back, use two fingers, massage on top of the eyebrow. And then we massage the beginning of the eyebrow. And then we sit up straight. We use the finger and push down on these two energy points. Use your neck a little bit so you feel the pressure. And now we take our index finger, put that in between, and we just massage our eyebrow. There's three energy points here, and we just go all the way around. Now we squeeze we squeeze toothpaste because there's a lot of oil tubes there, and if they're stuck, most of them are when we get old, is our eye gets dry. Our eye gets dry not because we don't have enough tears. You can use as much artificial tears you want, but if there's no oil, they will evaporate. Now you take the right thumb at the corner of the eye, massage at the bottom of the eye back until you get to the end. Same thing on the other side. Okay. Now you take your index finger, you put that at the corner of your eye, not the eye, just the corner of the eye. Okay. Now you can massage that a little bit first, and then hold it while we're doing some eye exercise. Now I want you to close your eye, and then I want you to rotate your eyeball so you're looking at the ceiling. Then you rotate it to the right, rotate it down, rotate it to the left, and come back to the top. And then we're going to do clockwise. Okay, get ready. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Come back to up. We're going to do counterclockwise. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Now open your eyes, right? These two energy points go to the right eye. Now we take 2 fingers, massage until you get to the chin. And then we take 2 index fingers, massage right below the eye back. And now we come back to the sinus. So we slide along the bridge of both sides until we find the bone. We go further down and we push up. Now, sometimes there's not enough surface area in the index finger to use the middle finger. Right? Find that and then push up. Okay, see it works? Okay, massage a little bit here. And then massage here. Clear my sinus. Okay, now we massage the ears. Ears are very important, they're extremities. But we separate into 3 parts. First, put the thumb inside, 4 fingers in the back. Now the thumb in the middle, 4 fingers in the back. Now the index fingers on the bottom and the thumb in the back. Now we massage the tips, yank. Massage the edge. Massage the ear loop, yank. Leave the thumb behind the ear loop. Take the index finger, put that outside the ear and massage. Now we massage the back of the ear from the rim all the way down. Take 2 fingers, massage the corner, and then massage along the ear, one on the ear, one on the skull, and then the bottom. Same thing on the other side. Massage. And then massage top, come down to the bottom. Okay, we do one more thing, which is called drumming of the ear. We take the hand, we put that behind, we close the ear, we stretch the ear, and then we go 1, 2, 3. Okay? All right. So now we continue the tapping, right? So we're going to go from the fingers to the toes. We're going to go from the top of the head to the palm of the feet. All right. So we're going to tap the top of the head first. So stretch, lean back, relax, lean back, ears on top of the shoulder, tuck in the chin. So top of the head is on top of your spine. 10 fingers, put that on top, and we count as we tap. Get ready, go. Now we take the fingertip, not the fingernail, and we just massage all the way to the neck. 2, 3. Now we put that on top of the ears. 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. Now we're going to move down from the top of the head to the top of the shoulder. We stretch our spine, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. We turn our head to the right. We bring up the right hand. We form empty hand. We put that on the left shoulder, fingers on top, palm of the hand is in front. We listen with your left ear. We count as we tap. Get ready, go. Wake up, continue. Okay, now stretch, open, lean back, relax. Take a right hand Empty hand, put that on the left shoulder, turn our head to the left, listen with the right ear, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now we get to these set of cavities that are called longevity cavities. And they turn out that they're the warmest part of your body. So right here, okay. So, but this one right here is actually part of the heart mind meridian. This muscle is actually quite important. Okay, so we're gonna do some stretching on that later on when we do the exercise. One exercise is to stretch that. So we talk a great deal about not losing muscle as we age. This is an important one. All right. So you take your elbow, you put that on top of you, you sit up straight, you lift up your head, so you're stretching this part, right? Then you take your left hand, you pinch upper part of your ear. There's an energy point here. When I have time to explain what that is, but it doesn't matter now. What you do is you turn your head to the right. You take up your right hand. You put that on your armpit. You listen with your ear. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, now do the other side. You take that, put that on top of your head. You stretch, right? Stretching this part. Pinch to your left ear. Turn to your head to your left hand, empty hand, right ear. Get ready. Go. Continue. Okay, one more cavity right here. Lock your elbow, right hand, fingers on top, palm on the side, lift it up, turn your head to the right, empty hand, ready, go. Continue. And then the other side, get ready, go. Okay, so now we're going to move to the lower part of the body. We don't have enough time to do the whole treatment, but today I'm going to focus on the toes because, again, as we age, our toes get very cold because basically we don't have enough energy. Okay, so we have to learn to massage the toes. Now I'm going to have to switch camera, but then I have to switch it. There we go. Okay, you have to do it one platform at a time, which takes a while. Okay. Now, the one I cannot switch is on the Patreon. It doesn't allow me to do that once I get going. So I'm going to have to do it for everyone. You on Zoom and Insight Timer really well. But on Patreon, you can. Right. So now we're going to learn to toes. So first, we're going to open the second toe. This energy line is named as liver. So we take our thumb, use the edge of the thumb, and just kind of massage. Now, then we move to the next one. Actually, there are 5 energy lines here, and then move it across, back, Okay, now there's energy points right at the edge, right at the bottom of massage. Energy point before they join massage. Now this is all liver and massage. Okay, now we turn, take a toes, we bend back, we see this tendon. This is called another longevity tendon. So we now the bottom of the feet, scrape the heel, scrape the ball area. Now we come back one at a time. And then we massage this arch area, this bent area between the toes. All right. So now this arch is actually, we'll talk about why it's important in a minute, but let me show you how to do it. You take your knuckle and you just scrape. Okay. Now, right bone, there's about 2-inch. There are 2 energy points here that are very important. They're actually part of the splint, and then below that's part of the kidney. Okay, now move up to the knee, and so you identified the angle towards the Achilles heel. There's a cavity, right? So you just scrape. Then you go back to the angle. You measure fingers. You find the bone right below. You scrape, and then you scrape along the calf. Then while you at it, massage your calf. Now the calf is, you don't want to lose muscle here because they can hurt. Okay? All right. Now you come back to the bottom of your ball area. You see the cavity right here, right? So you massage that. Okay? And then you use the back of the hand. And then you bend your back. You form empty hand. You put that to water. This is the fire. So we call this mixing the water. Ready? Go. Continue. Move to the right. Again, edge of a thumb. Massage in between the toes, one at a time. Now you open up your toes, and then before the toes join together, you massage. Okay, now there's something in Chinese, the liver fire. So the liver energy between 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock. So if you have a habit of waking up that time, then you want to massage this area. Okay, yeah. You take your right foot, you turn upside down, you bend back the toes, you scrape this tendon, you relax, scrape the bottom, scrape the heel, scrape the ball area, touch the tip of the toes, massage the arch area, massage in between, and then scrape the arch, particularly below the bone and below the ankle. Now you feet flat, and you lower your ankle right behind, scrape both fingers right below the bones, and then you scrape this area. Bend back the toes, Massage ball area, this energy point called the gushing spring. Use the edge of your hand and then bend back the toes from empty hand and we tap that 30 times. Continue. Okay, all right. Let me switch camera now. One at a time. One at a time. Okay. There was a piece of software that I used that allowed me to switch for all platforms. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on Saturday when I have too many platforms. Once I get inside time, it doesn't work. Okay. So Martha mentioned that everything here is recorded on my YouTube channel. It's actually also on Facebook, on Patreon, everywhere. Now, just before I forget, when we start the Sunday session, I might have difficulty doing a live cast, so I don't know if I could. I like to, um, but because we don't have internet access yet, I have to use my phone, and so the only live cast I could do would be either on Zoom or on YouTube. But the only way you can see it is if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe. Okay, then you can join in on the Sunday 9 o'clock our time in the morning. All right. Okay. So we'll continue. And I mentioned the 8 cavities, 8 longevity cavities, armpit, and then elbow. There's 2 more behind the knee and also in the score area. Okay. Again, these are the places that are closest to the internal organs. They're the warmest part. And so first we're going to massage the back over here, the what do you call that? The knee, yeah. Okay, now we're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, so this last one is right here. Now this one here, there's a number of reasons why this is important. One is that it's a bottleneck for all the yin energy, but it's also the area closest to your reproductive organ, which you might think, well, I'm past that age where I have any use for my reproductive organ. Not true. Your reproductive organ is your source of life, not for your next generation, but you for yourself. So this is actually a very important area. Now, so we're going to learn to massage that, okay? And you can do that before you go to sleep. Massage that. Okay. Now we're going to take a fist. Use the flat part of the fist. Just fit it in here. We're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready. Okay. Now the next exercise for the student who said that she's here or he or she who's here for the first time from India, this is in fact a yogic practice brought to us by Yogi Dharma, Bodhi Dharma. Okay, Bodhi Dharma. And yeah, it is an exercise that combines stretching, cardio, and muscle retention. Very important, right? Okay. So now, first, we locate the bottom of the feet and we press down with the bottom of the feet. Then we turn the toes inward, loosening up the knees so we're activating the calf. Then we come back to the shoulder. We open up the shoulder, aligning the well with the spring. Then we lean back to forehead, tuck in the chin. So we put this energy point about 100 feet on top of central nervous system. So all energy comes together here. So you are actually connecting between the earth and the universe. And so an important part of understanding health is to understand the word being. We often focus on the human part and not understanding that we are a being first. We are being with the universe. We are being with the other beings, right? So, which means that for health, if we want a good health, not just health for our body, but health of our habitat, it's all about harmony. It's all about harmony. And so now we take the center of our palm, we lean back, push back a little bit so that the palm is actually on the two sides. Now we close the eye, but we focus on the center of the palm. And then I would say go and you push. But when you push, you have to do it mind, body together. So it takes a while to settle down. So don't follow me. Just use what I said as a cue and do it on your own time. You ready? Go. Now, it's very important that you maintain the harmony of your neurological system. So that was energetic, which means that your body was in fight or flight. The body doesn't know that you're doing exercise. It thinks that you're being chased by animals. So it puts on stress hormone, which is good. It reduces your inflammation. But now you got to come back to the rest and digest, which means that you're focusing on the breath. And you feel your in-breath, and you said to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. And you feel your out-breath, and you said to yourself, I know I'm breathing out. All this time, you feel the inside your mouth to see if your inside mouth is wet. Your inside mouth is wet only when you are in rest and digest. After one breath, you do the same for the second breath. After two breaths, you're ready for the second time. Get ready? Now, be sure that you don't look down. Be sure that you're not dipping your head. The top of the head has to be on top of your spine. That's the only way that the shock wave will go to the top of your head. You ready? Go. Back to the breath. One last time. Go. Back to the breath. Okay, now the second one is called pointing. So now the focus is on the thumb. You point your thumbs to the hip, you roll up your four fingers, and you lift up your thumb as if you're lifting up 2 buckets of water. And then you relax without lowering your hand back to the breath. Second time. Back to the breath. One last time. Lower your hand this time. Relax back to the breath. Now the next one's called beginner's mind. Now the word mind, heart, and center are the same word in Chinese. So now you're focusing on the center of the palm. You bring your thumbs together, you roll up your forefingers, and you squeeze your fists the same way that you were doing that inside the mother's womb. And then you relax. Second time. And then you relax. One last time. Roll your hand, completely relax, focus on your breath, check the inside mouth. Now you take a deep breath of putting the fists together in front of your belly button. And you go, breathe in. And then relax. Now you bring your elbows together. You focus on your back and you crack, you stretch your back as if you're cracking your back, and then relax. Second time, and then relax. One last time, and then relax. No multitasking, okay? One mind, one thought, one mind at a time, one thing at a time. Now you take your fist, you put that above your head, you open up your shoulder, you open your fingers. And this is cardio. You're fighting your heart. You roll up your fist, you lock up your thumb, and you squeeze. And then relax. Open your shoulders, second time, squeeze. And then relax. One last time, open your shoulders and you squeeze. And then you relax. Next one's called stabbing the shoulder. You open your shoulder, you grab two daggers, you point your daggers to your shoulder, and you stab. You feel the tightness on the back of your neck, right? And then you relax. Let the energy flow to your top of your head. Second time, stab. And then relax. One last time, open your shoulder, grab the daggers, point the daggers on your shoulders, stab. And then relax. The next one's called a cross. Now you first feel the two trees on the side, so you remind yourself that you don't have to bring in your hand and punch. You just stretch, okay? First, you rotate your wrist, and then you form your fist, you take a deep breath, you hold your breath, and you push. The word is called boom, which means avalanche. Okay, get ready, lift up your hands, roll your fist, form your fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and you push. After two breaths, lift up your hand again, one last time. Now we'll do the same thing in the front. It's called front hanging. So you lock your elbow as if you're hanging close with your arm. You see the tree in front? Same thing. Second time. One last time. Okay, now we're going to do chin up, which is really the muscle here. So we lift up our arm, we look up, we see the bar, or grab onto the bar. Okay, we focus on the bar, we follow the bar as we pull ourselves up, and then relax. Second time. And then relax. One last time. Relax. We continue with the muscle. This time it's right here. It's as if you have two bow and arrow. Bow, you grab onto the bow and you open the bow and then relax. Second time. Relax. Check the inside of your mouth. Focus on your breath. One last time. Relax. Now we swallow. We collect all the saliva and we swallow. Okay, now the next one is important. First, you come back to the bottom of your feet, you turn your toes inward, you loosen up your knee, you straighten up your back of the hand touching, and then you lower your body. Okay, make sure you don't lock your knee, okay? All the way down, you actually dip your head down, you lock your elbow, you squeeze your fist 3 times. First time, back of the hand touching. Second time, back of the hand touching. One last time, back of the hand touching. Flip your hand, focus on the center of your palm. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, push, breathe in, breathe out. 1, 2, from the bottom of your feet to your hand, from your hand to your body as you sit down. Check your posture from the feet, from the legs to the hand, to the spine, to the shoulder, to the forehead, to the chin, to the eyelid, to the tip of the tongue. And now we focus on the breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. You go from knowing to anchoring. You anchor your mind on your belly button. When you know that you're breathing in, you open your stomach. You point your belly button forward. When you know that you're breathing out, you bring in your stomach. You bring in your belly button. One breath at a time. Now you let go of your belly button. You feel that your body actually breathes on its own. As you breathe in, your stomach opens slightly on its own. When you breathe out, your stomach collapses slightly on its own. Now I want you to focus on your lower back. As you breathe in, your stomach opens. You go from the lower back to the top of your head. You stretch your spine as you go up. As you breathe out, you come from the top of the head to the forehead, to the bridge of your nose. Through your tongue, come towards the belly button, and you lean back and relax. You breathe in, you stretch. You breathe out, you lean back and relax. Let's sit for 3 minutes, and then we're going to go and do a Mettā meditation. You notice that we only sit for 3 minutes, right? But this is a boot camp. So here we learn to train our body, so we know how to use our mind to maintain the quality of sleep, sit, so we don't either fall asleep or we don't let our mind wander around. One breath at a time. Now, earlier, I talked about how the Chinese believe that the universe is the balance of the five forces, the five elements. The water enhances the vegetation. The vegetation enhances the fire. The fire enhances the earth. And the earth enhances the mineral. And finally, the mineral enhances the water. They believe that the lung is the mineral and the kidney is the water. So, in fact, when you breathe in, taking in oxygen, it adds vitality to the water, which is the kidney. The essence of the kidney is the marrow. So, as we take a deep breath in, we travel along our spine. They believe that the brain matter, the brain, is the seed of marrow. So, in fact, we're taking oxygen and convert it into what's called life energy, traveling on our spine. So, one important practice is for you to reinforce your sense of gratitude. And you do that in every breath that you take. Every time you take a deep breath, you're taking in resources from the universe. And that oxygen, that resources, that mineral element is what sustains your life. There's every reason to be grateful for that, especially when you're getting for free and there is never any limitations to how much oxygen you can get and how long can you get it. But we often forget where that oxygen comes from. That oxygen that you breathe, unless you're in a hospital, did not come from a tank. It actually came from earth. It came from the trees. And all the other beings are there to protect the trees. So not only are we grateful for the oxygen, we should be grateful for all the beings as we breathe in. So I want you to build these building blocks. One is called gratitude, and one is called acceptance. As you breathe in, you rise from the bottom of your spine towards the top of the head. You feel the life energy rising with you. That's the time you said, I am very grateful. I'm grateful for myself, for my family. I'm grateful for my neighbors. I'm grateful for all the people around me who are providing me safety and health and existence. As you breathe out, you lean back, and all of a sudden you feel a sense of lightness because as you lean back, you're putting the weight of your upper torso on your spine and not relying on your back muscle. That's a cue. That's a signal that says that you should try to let go of all your baggages. It's only when you let go of your baggages that you will feel that sense of lightness, that you could eventually find your inner peace. Those baggages, they exist not only in your body, but in your mind. They are, in fact, the clouds that are covering your inner child, covering your inner light. And so as you lean back, you feel a sense of lightness in your body, you should try to let go of all your mental luggage. And you do that by thinking about the water that rise to the top of your head. And as you lean back, relax, the water is flowing from your forehead down. There's an opportunity to take all your fear, all your anxiety, all your hate, all that negative energy, and just let it flow from the top of the head all the way down to your stomach. And when you look down, you see a pond, a lotus pond. The bottom of the pond, the bottom of the pond are full of debris, full of mud. And you let go of your baggage and let it just settle. Let it settle. Let it go where it belongs. You don't want it anymore. Instead, you focus on top of the pond. You see a lotus flower. The lotus flower is your inner child. And you want that lotus flower to grow without contaminated by the mud, one breath at a time. As I breathe in, I rise from the bottom of the spine to the top of the head. I focus on my gratitude. As I come down, I lean back, I let go of all my baggages. I focus on acceptance, accepting myself as who I am, accepting all the things that I did that I wish I could have done better. I would just let it go. Not only acceptance, but also forgiveness, forgiving myself. Not only forgiving myself, I'm going to try to forgive others who had in the past have done things either intentionally or unintentionally that has caused me pain. I'm willing to accept them as who they are, and I'm willing to forgive them for what they have done. Because I believe that I had also hurt others, either intentionally or unintentionally. I hope that they can also accept me as who I am and forgive what I have done. Now that you have gratitude and acceptance, forgiveness as your foundation, you're ready to practice loving kindness. I want to bring loving kindness to myself. I wish myself health, happiness, and peace, because I deserve it. I also hope what's best for my family. I hope that they could be healthy, happy, and to be at peace, because they too deserve it. I'm willing to extend that to my neighbors, to the other citizens of my country, to all the inhabitants of this planet Earth. I accept them as who they are, and I wish that they can share health, happiness, and peace. May all beings be free from animosity and negative energy. Sabe May all beings be free from mental suffering. May all beings be free from physical suffering. May all beings be full of joy and be protected with positive energy. Namaste. May you all have a healthy, happy, and peaceful 2 weeks. And I'll see you back on the 21st, with understanding that 22nd would be our first Sunday in-person retreat. And if you want to join us, you need to let me know. I posted my email address on the top, okay? And also, I will try, as I said, to live cast it, but there's no guarantee, all right? Now, but keep in mind that the Sunday in-person class is co-host with Mr. Tian Nguyen, who is a returned citizen, someone who has spent 16 years for what he did. And most of the students who are participating in person have similar background. So if you're not comfortable in that environment, then it's not for you, okay? And but on the other hand, that's our practice. That is our practice. It's not just for our own peace, but is for the peace of all of those who seeks peace. All right? Okay, take care. See you in 2 weeks. Well, actually, it's 3, huh? Actually, it's 3. Okay, thank you. 我哋休息啦，就17號見嚇，星期二朝頭早17號見。好多謝大家支持。OK， 拜拜啦。旅行愉快。好多謝陳老師。OK， 拜拜。拜拜，旅途愉快。Thank you. Okay, thank you for all the donations. And as I said, every year at the year end, we'll collect everything from Insight Timer and Patreon. And there are always people who are willing to match our contribution. And all of that will be sent to Venerable Dihong, who now spends all his time working with those who are currently in prison, but he's actually also saying that he needs to wind down that, and so he'll be spending half his time with those who are currently incarcerated, and half the time with those who have been released, right? And I think I told you a very impressive statistics. Now you might argue what the actual numbers are, how many people actually return to prison once they're released. Someone said 65%, someone said less than that. It really doesn't matter. Suppose even 30%. 30% of those who are released from prison, if that is the number, then they would also return to prison, right? More than once. So in other words, out of 1,000 people who have been released from incarceration, if you use the number 30%, 300 of them will return. Now, the number I had was 65%, which is 650. That's an incredible number. Of all the people that Venerable Dihong have touched that are released from incarceration, out of 1,000, he had more than 1,000 students, but out of the total number of students they had, which is more than 1,200, only 2 return. So mindfulness, it is that important. And so finally, we have a chance now to serve the community, but we're actually serving a bigger community, a community that is now called justice impacted community population. So it includes those who are being incarcerated, those who have been released from incarceration, those who have parents who have been incarcerated, as well as those who grew up in communities that are prone to incarceration. I think that's a very worthy cause, and I'm very happy, very grateful that I have a chance to be part of that. and we are all part of it. Okay. All right. So with that, I will see you on the 21st, which is basically 3 weeks now. And I wish you happiness, health, and peace. Namaste. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks. Thanks, Martha. Bye-bye.